format today which is going to be very quick-paced. We're going to be moving through presentations very quickly. The idea is we've got an enormous amount to talk about on the subject of innovation and thought leadership.
Rio plus 20, we all know Rio plus 20 is happening shortly. What is going to happen at Rio? Our government's going to turn around and go, we are going to fundamentally change the way we behave? I think the answer is no. But can we and will we or should we? Yes. Does business want to change, and are we all in this room doing that? Yes, we are, but to what extent? So I think what needs to happen and needs to change is that we need to stop worrying about shareholders or stop worrying about the minute-by-minute shareholder piece and worry about our businesses, and then and our employees and the community, and the shareholders will be happy.
One of the issues that Mark raised is, how do you prove that you are sustainable? Well, now everybody is committing to be sustainable, but how do you genuinely prove that you are delivering? And one of the suggestions, one of the answers to that is to have some form of technology model that will allow you to track exactly what it is that you're doing so that you can measure input and output. And I'm delighted to be able to welcome Ed Bevan, who's going to talk about an e-trading platform that is directly designed to help you measure how sustainable your business is.
The world's natural resources are depleting before our very eyes. It's incredible to think that if everybody on the planet consumed like an average European, we would already be in a position where the equivalent of 3 Earths would be needed to enable us to live. Now, I hope there's nobody from the US here, because if everybody consumed like an average North American, we'd need 5 Earths.
How do we make sure that everybody works together? There is no individual, no component who is responsible for everything. The food service industry isn't responsible, the government isn't responsible. The solutions have to come from everybody.
You know, there's a real imperative to work together. So I think the starting point has to be, what are the big challenges? So, we've heard about the world view, but certainly in terms of the UK view, we know that there's a very strong relationship between health, public health and productivity through sickness absence. And the latest figures I've seen on this is something like 134 million working days a year are lost through sickness absence at a cost of £100 billion a year to the economy, which is equivalent to the NHS budget. So, all of us, between us as businesses, are losing out on this. So we have a very, we've got a vested interest in public health, but as has the state too. So it's really kind of frustrating on one level, but kind of, the Department of Health only spends something like 4% of its overall budget on preventative health care.
Because the Patients Association for the NHS sees food as a medicine. We have to get that into our psyche. It is a medicine that we can use very, very well, and we can reduce our drug budgets and other elements if we use this wisely.
This guy decided, why don't we cut out the middlemen? Because coffee's all sold through auctions anonymously, all the profits go to the middlemen. Why don't we just cut out the middlemen? I'll fill a container with coffee, take it back to England and sell it directly to consumers, and we'll hopefully make more profit. So he did that and literally sold it in village halls, at fetes, and then sent the money back and realised that this new business model was really quite innovative, and it worked. It got a lot more money, much more money to the growers, and so that's where it all started out, hence the name Cafe Direct, because it sort of cut out all these middlemen.
Tell the guest is, you've got this nice rain shower water shower head in your shower, but the water's all preheated with heat rejected from the refrigeration cycle. I think that's pretty unique in the City of London to have put in a central plant for the specific purpose of using that rejected heat.
If you have food service disposables, the very nature of them is that they're going to get smeared in mayonnaise and baked beans and whatever you're serving. So then it might be recyclable, but it's only really recyclable if it's clean and separated. But if the packaging itself has the same waste stream, have the same recycling stream as the food, then you're onto a winner, because then it makes all our stuff incredibly practical. You just put it in exactly the same bin together with the food waste.
That actually it's not all about cost, and it is about whole life costing these days. It's about looking at how you can impact your profitability. I think, Jack, you said that every pound that you save goes onto your bottom line, every pound a buyer saves goes onto the bottom line. And if we can do it through a whole life costing, rather than just saying, well, polystyrene is half the price, so we'll use that. If we look at the ways of disposing, and if we've got the food waste disposal cracked, then it's a no-brainer.
That there's this assumption that eco-friendly products will be more expensive, and it's genuinely not the case. And in many cases, it's a way of saving money as well. So often we're all fighting against this perception. It drives us crazy.
Producing the right supply chain to fit each business is the optimum way of maximising both efficiency and sustainability. So really thinking about the way the supply chain is constructed is important.
UK, we have about 15 million tonnes of food waste produced each year. The majority of that waste is at a household level, then within food and drink manufacturers, and then it's within hospitality and food service. So it's something that we need to tackle. But when we tackle this waste, the important thing is to look at tackling it across the chain. And I can't stress that and stress how important it is to do that.
Things you can do in-house. We've done a lot in-house. Over the last few years, our volumes have gone up. So you would expect everything else to go up, energy, water, and waste. But in fact, everything else has gone down the other way because we've learnt in-house to become more efficient. We've put a value on water, put a value on waste, and we've put a value on energy. So as our productions are going up, there's a massive reduction in our water use, energy use, and waste use. So I think there's a lot you can do. There's a lot of low-hanging fruits out there which you can go and take on.
In an age of surplus, nobody cared. Butter mountains, olive oil mountains, wheat mountains, nobody cared about it producing anymore. And we didn't have millions of Chinese people actually wanting to eat pork. Now the whole dynamics have changed. And we have to now go back in response to this age of scarcity to find a better way of getting more for less.
Can't sort of just leave it for someone else to do, so you all have to play your part. And we all know we have to work together. And if you don't work together, we're not going to get there. So it is possible to deal with the issues, but it is to sort of do it in a measured way. And it's not competitive. It should be pre-competitive in the sense that we're all looking at the same thing, and that is to have food security.
If you hang on to, in your thoughts and in your conversations with people, the need to keep people focused on the need to get more productivity and to think in innovative ways. We've done it in the past. We've had a slack few years because we've had too much. And now we go into that age of scarcity, we have to try a little bit harder.